Hello friends, welcome. I'm glad you're here with me today. So a lot of companies have come out with a product where you have an embossing folder, a set of stencils to color the embossing folder, and a die. And I have a couple of these sets, and I've often wondered, what is the best order to do these things in? So I thought today we would just take some time and try it different ways and see what works best. So let's go ahead and change the camera view and take a look at the products. All right, so this is what I have today, and I know that Simon Says Stamp has come out with several of these with their releases where you get a great embossing folder. And here's kind of a picture of what this one does. And then it'll have a set of layering stencils. And you can see here, you can use these layering stencils to color the embossed area. And then it'll have a die where you can die cut different parts of it. Now this one die cuts the center. Now I have found that once I emboss it, I don't want to die cut it because as it goes through the machine to do the die cutting, it kind of smashes down all of your embossing that you just did. So I have already kind of figured out that I want to do any die cutting first. But if I just take a piece of paper like this that doesn't have my embossing on it, how am I supposed to know exactly where to set my die so that it matches? So I have gone ahead and made this one, and we're going to use that as a template for placing our die. So I'm going to go ahead and stack these up, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to place this die right back in where it was. So it's important that you have your papers perfectly squared up. Looks like I got that there. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead, just going to place that right snug down in there. And now I'm going to tape that down, and hopefully when this goes through my machine it will die cut both pieces. My paper's a little thick today, but I think it should do that all right for us. So I have found that if I'm going to die cut it, I want to do my die cutting first. Now I don't want that to shift at all, so I did tape it quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and run this through my die cut machine, and then we'll get started on the next part. So we're actually going to make two cards today. One of them we're going to die cut, and we're going to emboss first and then stencil. On the next one we're not going to die cut, and we're just going to stencil first and then emboss and see which way we like it best. Okay, so you can see here how much it smashed down my embossing, and so I don't like that. That's why if I am going to die, I die cut first. Now this little piece here that I used as my template, I'm going to just slide that right in with the die so that if I when I use this set again, I won't have to make another template. I've got it there to use, so I'm going to slide that right in there with my die. So this is my forever template. That is until I lose it or mess it up. So go. All right, so there we go. All right, so hopefully this went all the way through. If it didn't, and it didn't, my paper's kind of thick. So let me grab that one more time. Because we already have that indentation, it's going to be easy to kind of slip my die right back into the spot so that we can run that through a second time. So that just fits right down on there. We're going to use our tape here again. And I'll run this through a second time. I kind of thought this might happen, so if I was using a lighter weight paper, we probably could have got away with it, but like I said, these pieces are kind of thick. There it is. Run that through a second time. I didn't shim it all that well either. I probably could have put some shims in there, and that would have done the trick as well. All right, there we go. Now, for this one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to emboss it first. So we will have to place that. I'm going to square it up real well there with my paper, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape this in place a little bit because I don't want that to move. Not a lot, but just a couple pieces of tape. Well, doesn't look like we have it perfectly in place. Slide that into position just a little better. You can see on the edge here, I can kind of line up those edges and see if we can't get that perfectly placed. Looks like it needs to come down just a little bit. Okay. Might have to play with it just a little bit. Alright, that looks pretty good. I can usually tell around the flowers if the outline around the edges are all the same. So when I look around there, it looks like all my petals are lined up. So I think that's going to do pretty good. I've got my Cuttle Bug over here set up for embossing. Oh yeah, that did really well. Okay. Alright, so we're set our embossing folder aside. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and on 2 pieces of paper here, we're going to do our stenciling so that we can decide which way we like it better, whether to emboss first and then stencil, or to stencil first and then emboss. We're going to try it both ways. So for my colors today, you can see I've got 2 cards pulled here, and I'm using 2 greens. I'm using a samba, this kind of reddish color. I'm using a yellow, a bright yellow, and I'm using a little bit of an orange. So my colors that I chose, I'm kind of combining these 2 cards, which I often do. I like the inspiration, but sometimes I like to mix it up a bit. So I've got my 2 greens, my yellow, my red, and my orange. So I'm using Orange Twist, Samba, Catching Rays, Succulent, and Grass Skirt. Alright, I'm going to grab my mat that I use for stenciling, and it's just a jelly plate, which you can buy at any local store. At like a box store for crafting, we'll have these. And the name brand is Gel Plate, or Jelly Plate. I think I have a new one back here. Yeah, they look like this. So I have had people ask me questions in the chat before about what I use. This is a brand new one. I haven't opened it yet, so this is what it looks like when you buy it. You can go online. They sell these in lots of different sizes, and this is the large one. So I'm going to start with the one that we just embossed. Is this the first one? I may have gotten them out of order. Nope, that's the last one. This is the first one. Yep. I'm just going to line that up. Press it down. So I have often wondered which way to do it. So you may be like that as well. So I thought I would just do this for you. So that way if you do purchase one of these sets, you won't have to go through doing it both ways to see which way that you like it. Hopefully we'll get a clear answer which way we like it best. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to set this one aside, and we're going to do the same to this piece. And I'm just going to line up that upper left-hand corner. Shift it a little. There we go. Okay, all right. Actually, I've got this pressed in pretty good. I don't have to hold it. It's a little easier if I've got this in my hand. And because I didn't use the die, there's a few little places here on the stencil that I can go ahead and do where I didn't do it on the other one because it has cut out some of these little star things that are around. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, it looks like this is stencil number 2. I'm going to consult the picture just to make sure I get this lined up right. Okay. Excuse my head if it's in there. Look about right. Well, that looks right. So we're going to go ahead and go with it. There were a couple places right down here. This stem with this flower, and then this little flower fit into this stem as well. So hopefully I've got that lined up just right. All right, and for this one, I am going to use the Catching Rays. Well, I've kind of decided here recently that I'm going to start saving up my pennies and my quarters and my dollars and I'm going to purchase all of the re-inkers to go with my Catherine Pooler inks. I've just got so many of them that are starting to get dry, and I've got a few re-inkers, but I don't have all of them, and it's going to be a pretty hefty investment, but I'm just going to bite the bullet and get it done because I find myself not using certain colors because it needs re-inked, and just ordering them one at a time here and there has become, you know, I feel like I'm paying shipping when I don't really, you know, I would rather use that shipping money on more bottles of refill. So I think that I am just going to wait till I have the money saved up and just order all of them, because it is my go-to ink. I use it all the time. All right, so there we've got the bottom layer. Move this one aside, and I'm going to do our embossed. Now, definitely, it's way easier to line up your folder when you emboss first. So that right away gives us a plus for embossing first. Let's see, just making sure I got that right. That looks pretty good. I do really like this idea, though, of being able to stencil on your the embossed, you know, to combine those kind of two products together to make a, you know, colorful embossing. A lot of people would use their Copic markers on their embossing folders, and I'm not that good of a colorist that I ever felt like mine looked so good. So I tended to use my embossing folders just for, you know, backgrounds and things like that. So it's kind of, I do like this. Maybe some of you have already figured this out. There we go. Okay, so now let's see, here's the third one, and I'm going to do something a little different on my third one. I'm going to use two different colors on it rather than just one. Let's go ahead and get that all lined up. I think it needs to go this way just a tad. Let's go just a little bit. Okay, how are we looking there? That looks pretty good. Okay. So on these two large flowers, I'm going to do the red, but on these other flowers, I'm going to do the orange twist. And when I say red, I mean my Samba. It's my red color that I've picked out. All right, we'll go ahead and do these two little stars. Get another little star up in there. All right, before we move that, I'm going to go ahead and do the two that I want in the Samba. Putting it on kind of heavy. I want these two flowers to really, to kind of pop and be the focal point here. All right. Oh, that's looking really pretty. Very springy and cheerful. On the side. Oops. One little place there. There's several little places that you can look to line up. Not quite right there. Ah, that's better. All right. When you own this, there's little places where the flowers cut into the leaves, or like right here, there's a leaf that needs to be covered up, and all of that makes it so you can line that up even if you haven't used your embossing folder first. Same thing, we're going to go ahead and ink those pretty heavily. This is a pretty easy way to get a card finished. It does, you know, you don't have to do a lot of design to it. It kind of has it all figured out for you already. And I find stenciling to be kind of a fun, relaxing thing to do. Not hard, not messy. Pretty easy to clean up after. Love that Samba color. It's one of my favorites. Alright, quickly go in here and do all the orange twist flowers. One thing when you are stenciling with this kind of brush, you want to go back and forth each direction on your stencil. Like turn your brush one way and then go the other way, because up against some of the lines of the stencil, that just makes sure you get a nice even coverage, so you don't have like a white line down one side where the brushes didn't quite meet. And there may be a few times where I've forgotten, and if I see someplace that's like that, I'll show it to you so I can tell you that's what happens if you don't go both ways. Okay. All right, one more stencil and we'll be ready to emboss this second one and make our determination which one we like best. So the last one here is some more greenery and some leaves. I'm just figuring out how that all fits in. I think that's pretty good. Now, one little place right here, there's one stencil where these little bits want to kind of fly up. So those are the only ones I'm going to have to make sure I go the same direction on. And for this, we're going to use the succulent color. This is kind of my one that I've got to go the same direction on. This is one of the brand new colors from Catherine Pooler, so it's nice and inky. I love that. Makes me want to have new ones all the time. It's like a treat to have ink in my ink pad. There we go. right. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. I like those colors together. Very nice. Okay, let's do this one. All right, I think that's going to be pretty good. Excuse me. All right. I think I'm going to start here with this one, that I have to go the same direction. I am getting ink all over my fingers, so before we go do our embossing, I'm going to have to use a wet wipe here and wash my hands off. I don't want to ruin the final product by moving green ink all over it. Everything. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. All right, so here is the one that we embossed first. It is looking fantastic. It's going to be hard to beat that one. I do think that looks great. Move this. And let's see here. Grab a wet wipe real quickly from my fingers. All right, so one of the tricky things I think is going to be trying to line up this one in our embossing folder. So I'm going to lay it in here. Now, from the top, it looks pretty straight. When I close, I can see that it's off some. So I'm just going to slide that over. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Maybe right here, this side could go up just a tad. All right, I think I'm going to go with that. I'm not going to worry about taping it down since it looks like it's pretty good. I'm afraid if I opened it, it would move and run this through. We'll see what we think. All right. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I had that lined up about as perfectly as one could get it lined up, and it did shift as it went through. So my flowers are not perfectly on the flowers. The leaves are not perfectly on the leaves with the ink. So I have the stamp set that I'm going to use because I want this to say sending prayers. So I've got the word prayers, and then I'm going to use the word sending from up here. And we'll finish these up. All right, just looking at the embossing and the inking on the embossing, the order that I would say to do this in is definitely to die cut first, then emboss, and then stencil. So, and then if you're not doing the die cutting, then emboss and then stencil. That is definitely the way that I think you're going to have the most success without mushing down your stencil or mushing down your embossing. Okay, oh, here we go. Just right here. All right, I kind of have a plan here. Let's see if it works. Lay this one inside. And I want the word prayers to be right here. And then the word sending, I'm going to put right up here above the word prayers. So I can go ahead and pull this one off. I'm going to stamp this in the Samba color. One more time. Now this one, it should be in the exact same place, so hopefully we've done that well. And okay, not bad. Yep, I think that's pretty good. And now for the word sending. This is a really nice stamp set. It's a really older one from Close to My Heart. And I picked it up as someone was kind of getting rid of some of their Close to My Heart stuff. And I just thought the word prayer was in such a pretty font. And that is a sentiment that I use quite often. So I picked it up for like $10 on sale. I was so happy. Now I'm going to mask off part of this one. Whoops. There we go. Because I just want the word sending. Don't need the whole thing. So I've just placed a piece of masking over the rest of it so that I can just stamp the word sending. All right, there's that. For this one, it should be in the exact same place. So put the mask back in place there. Ah! Forgot to take the mask off, but luckily it didn't touch down. Whew! One more time. This will all be solved when I get my re-inkers. I won't have to do it over and over and over. I'm going to have to put Samba at the top of my list. Okay. right, so I've got 2 card fronts here ready to go, and on this one I'm going to put some foam tape all around this one, and we're going to pop that up. Pop that frame up. Now, if you wanted to make this a shaker, it would be so easy to do, but I'm not going to do that today. I just want a nice frame around here. A piece here I'm going to put in the center. All right. Alright, gonna go ahead and line that up just so. Alright, there we go. This one is definitely my favorite. It definitely, the ink is right on top of the embossing, and I love that we lifted it up and with the sending prayers on the inside. I think our colors came out great by using our little inspiration cards over here. And it's another win. I love this. So I hope this helped you decide. If you look at this one, especially right up here at these flowers, you can see how that is off. There was some place, oh, right up here, the ink goes way above the embossing. You can kind of see right there. So this was perfectly lined up when I put it down. I may try it again and tape it just to make sure, to see if that would cause it from, or, you know, help it from sliding. But I'm not so sure. I don't know that that was really the issue. I think it would have moved a little bit anyway. So this was definitely easier to do by lining up my stencil. It made it much easier to line it up by having the embossing already done. But like I said, I would definitely do my die cutting first, no matter which way you were going to do it, because once you do your embossing, to die cut it after you emboss, it definitely smashes your embossing down. No way to avoid that. All right, well, thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope this helps you decide how, if you have any of these, how you might want to go about using them. And have a great day. Give this video a thumbs up, and I always love talking to you, so feel free to put comments there, and I will respond. And I will see you on the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.